You smell what The Rock is cooking.
Acknowledge me.
You don't know what hard times are, Daddy.
We are bad to the bone. Get it? Bad to the bone.
Tell me when I'm telling lies.
I'll fight anybody. Who do you want? Just let me fight him.
Let me tell you something, Jim Ross.
Mega power, yeah.
We got it for you.
We are the best of the best.
Woo! Wheeling dealing. Smart marks.
And that's the bottom line, cause Stone Cold said so.
Yo, welcome back to another episode of Talk 'em in the Building, a pro wrestling podcast that puts the focus on the promo. We talk about the talkers, we hype the hype man. Of course, we pontificate upon the promo. I'm Adrian here in the great state of Georgia, right along with my bro here, Greg. How you living, bro? Happy New Year.
Hey, Happy New Year to you. Happy New Year to all the watchers and listeners out there, too.
Yeah. Definitely. And out west, he is not forgotten. This is our good brother out of Lead, man. How's everything treating you out there, man?
Just starting off to training a new page on the new year, and always just happy to be here with you, fellas.
That's it. And listeners, if this is your first time checking us out, thank you. Be sure to leave a like. In fact, leave a comment down below and let us know where you're listening from, just so we can engage. We're still building a community. We've been doing a good job, and we just like to engage with other wrestling fans. So if you want to check out past episodes, go to intothebuilding.com. That will bring you to a long back catalog where we have reviews like what we're doing today. We have full episodes, good conversations about this thing that we call promo, and that sort of thing. But I don't have any small talk, gentlemen. I actually want to save that small talk for this review. Now, for our Dusty review, before we get started, what we do is we watch it, we break it down, pros, cons, what do we like about it, what was left to be desired, and we ultimately ask ourselves, did it talk you into the building? And on a scale to 1 to 5 Dusties, how many Dusties are you giving this promo? So for today's episode, we're going to break down this Javon Evans contract signing on Monday Night Raw. Unfortunately, a lot of us didn't get the chance to see that, and we're going to save that for this conversation. But let's go ahead and jump into, once again, this contract signing, Javon Evans, a guy I've been talking up for quite some time on NXT. He is finally on the main roster. He is finally on the flagship show of WWE.
Faces on SmackDown, and there's been some new faces on Raw, but none of them are more exciting than this young man.
Y'all really want to know more about me, don't you? Your boy is bouncy.
The breathtaking Javon Evans.
This kid is on the cusp of becoming a major superstar in this business.
I love the confidence of Javon Evans. Sounds like I'm about to be growing up in front of y'all eyes. So y'all might as well sit back, enjoy the ride, and come along with me.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the young OG, Javon Evans.
Your boy is bouncy.
Javon, you are without a doubt one of the most exciting prospects to ever come through WWE. And I wanted to bring you live and in front of everybody in Brooklyn, New York, to offer this to you. The opportunity to join the flagship, the premier show in WWE, sign this contract, and become the next member of the Monday Night Raw roster. Ladies and gentlemen, it is official. The newest member of Monday Night Raw, the young OG, Javon Evans.
He did his thing on NXT for quite some time. Previous to that, he was on AEW. He was in the independents. Very young dude, extremely athletic. I love the guy's charisma and personality. Is something very organic about Javon Evans that has gotten over with people amongst the IWC, amongst casual fans. And I'll be honest, gentlemen, once he told Ricochet that he works for a crackhead, I was all in on that. So, but let's talk about this segment in particular, because that's the point of our reviews. Out of lead, I want to know your thoughts on the highlights that they showed prior to Javon coming out.
I mean, they frame him as this up and coming superstar, right? I don't need to hear his promos. I don't need to hear this long-winded, monologue. I just need to see him in the ring. I need to see him be charismatic, smiling, engaging. And I think of these past few months where he's had these runs with AAA, and you see him engage with a different crowd, a different culture, and he adapts. And he doesn't have a mic with him. He's just reacting to the crowd. And it's really what I saw highlighted here was obviously the athleticism, but also this persona, this, really young guy who encapsulates a certain part of the culture right now, a certain part of his generation that's easy to pick up on, right? So many times we go into this and we I don't want to bring in, but I saw Stranger Things in the back. But the whole thing with Stranger Things right now is people have all these theories and they're just, digging holes where there ain't no dirt.
Right.
And for Javon, what you see is what you get. And right now, it's fine. It's perfect because we're all for it, right? He's thrilling. He's exciting. And I don't need to hear him say on the mic. That promo speaks for itself. And that genuine kind of infectious energy that he even had towards the end, is it for real? Is it official now? And it's like this very jovial, very youthful energy that you think others would have, but they don't.
Right.
It's almost like that. It gets too serious almost, but he's enjoying it. Whether it's an act or not, I don't know. He's doing a good job.
Yeah, and you can't help but cheer for someone like that. Just what you said, the attitude and approach, how he comes off in front of the camera or whatnot, how he comes off online. It seems very authentic. It seems like that's your little brother and you're cheering him on. And that's the way I felt about it. Greg, I want to know your opinion because like Adelite said, Javon didn't say much in this promo. For some people, that may be a negative when it comes to introduction per se. But how did it work for you? Did it translate for you?
Yes.
Okay.
I'll give you a couple reasons. One, let's just look at the surface. Here's a dude walking in, ready, not ready for this role. I don't know, right? Young, small, bouncy, but the GM is putting him over. They have a whole segment now. Why I didn't see this on Netflix, I don't know. But they had a whole segment of him being put over, and he was on both shows at some point. So they kind of played he's being courted a little bit, right?
Right.
To me, that put him more over. He didn't have to say anything.
Right.
And there's another layer to this. What did Paul Heyman used to always preach in ECW? Accentuate the positives, hide the negatives.
Yep.
His promos are not great.
No.
And the thing is, his promos are not star making. Now, in that setting, they're genuine, they're real, but in that setting, let's make him a superstar and let's hide that negative.
And
there's some other things there. There's some other things there that were very un-WWE like.
Like what?
One, even the whole signing, that was un-WWE like. But look what he had on. He didn't have on his gimmick. He did
Mm-hmm.
have. I was trying to look. That's not one of his T-shirts that I could tell.
No.
He was just a dude. He didn't come out with NXT gear. He didn't come out with a shirt. He didn't have, and he has shirts.
Yeah.
And so I thought that was kind of interesting that they did not play up that because they're a marketing machine.
Hmm.
To their point, AEW same thing. Do it right, hawk them shirts, make that
Right.
money.
Right.
But they didn't, and this was a perfect opportunity where they could have, and they didn't.
That's a good
So
point.
I just thought that was very interesting, and I guarantee it was done on purpose.
Okay.
And I just because you just don't see that in WWE, especially not in WWE. You don't see dudes coming out in just plain hoodie or whatever. So I thought that was interesting that he kind
Yeah.
of came out that way. And then I'll give more opinions about him in a minute if you would like. But
Yeah. Now, I mean, when it comes to his promo, I will say, it's not the most polished, but
no,
that's part of the reason why I like it
Mm-hmm.
because it's so authentic. It
hmm
really does seem like that. Like I said, that's your little brother talking his talk. He doesn't care. He doesn't care. He's not trying to be the greatest orator in NXT or WWE. He's just being him, and he's gonna translate his personality, his energy is gonna win over more people than piss them off. But there is time for him to develop on a few things. That way we can say, okay, he's not just this happy, jovial guy. Let's create some range here or there. But he's
Mm-hmm.
super young. And I definitely agree there. Now, this is what I wanted to initially say was the small talk of the pod. But, this past Monday Night Raw wasn't the best.
Mm-hmm.
And I know I personally, I can only speak for myself. I do hold AEW to the fire when I see fit. And it's only right that I do the same thing for WWE.
hmm
They just finished having a Stranger Things night, per se. Shout out to the props team. They seemed engaged with it. They made the backdrop that look cool. They even made that WWE Stranger Things
that
upside
was
down
sick.
title. That was
Mm-hmm.
cool.
That was sick.
You could tell that one department of many was actually into this gimmick.
hmm
So my next question to you, I'll start off with you, Greg. My next question or my challenge is to Triple H, and it just seemed like either he didn't watch Stranger Things and had no idea what the hell's going on. And with that being said, it seemed like he was just like, whatever, and we're just gonna go full speed ahead, whatever with this. We're gonna ignore all this. It just didn't, it was a missed opportunity. And this is something that's been a critique of WWE. Like they had a fire a year ago, like not 2025, 2024, they were on fire. They
hmm
set the standard. 2025, they dropped the ball. I think AEW got props just as a consolation prize more so, but that's my opinion. But what are your thoughts when it comes to Triple H not embracing that missed opportunity? It was a missed opportunity.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts about that?
So I agree. I watched it and I'm like, I don't understand what the purpose of the Stranger Things part was. And I
Right,
kind of felt like you have talent on this show that appeals to the Stranger Things audience. And the
right.
missed opportunity is my daughter sat there and watched it the beginning because she's a Stranger Things fan. She's not a big
Hmm.
wrestling fan.
Okay.
And she was kind of like, because at first we're both like, oh, this is kind of cool where we're going to go with it. And we went nowhere.
Nowhere at all.
And I'm going to
Yeah.
flip it back to years ago with the new ECW on Sci-Fi. What was the first thing we saw? A
What was it?
zombie.
The zombie? Yeah.
And then the next week we had something else, and then we had vampires, and we had, because there's an audience on Sci-Fi that was going to appeal to. That's why they were doing it. Whether it was done right or not,
Mhm.
that's a whole nother debate. But in this case, I was like, you don't have to incorporate Stranger Things cast, but you have people on this show that are as nerdy as you can get. and that's nothing. That's not a knock, right?
Right.
That's, I mean, whether it's a Cardona, whether it's a Vega, Selena
New
Vega,
Day.
and that whole
You
group.
know, New Day was into
Yeah.
Oh yeah, New Day,
Stranger
all
Things.
that, and they would have, if you, I guarantee they would have come out with their own gear and
Yep.
everything. And I was just kind of like, it was a miss. And
Yeah.
the main event was fine. That was fine. Everything else to me was a miss on that show.
Mm.
And the biggest miss to me
Mhm.
is not just about it being Stranger Things, because it made no connection to Stranger Things,
Right.
was Becky Lynch.
That was
Not
Yeah.
the whole, not Dupree. She is
Right.
what she is.
Right.
Mhm.
Becky
Yeah.
has regressed.
Shit.
And I've sitting back overacting over everything. I was
Yeah.
just like, this is
It's
horrible.
not landing, man. It's
Not
not
at
landing.
all. She's not. It just, everything about it is just, she's going, I don't know. It was just bad to me.
Yeah.
Um,
And not to trash the entire show, but
Mm.
like we got to be honest. We got to shoot it straight. It was bookend by two good matches. On
Yeah.
paper, it should have been a really great show. You
Yep.
got 3 title matches. Main event was for the big championship, you know.
Mhm.
This should have been a bigger show. And I know
Mhm.
there was a number of people that were tuning in just to see if Jericho showed up. I know
Mhm.
that.
Right.
I understand that. I'm putting that to the side. I'm talking about what was actually presented to us.
Yeah.
And what was presented to us was a disconnect. This was a Stranger Things themed show, but why not have an upside down match? Like have a gimmick match. Like, for
Right.
all the other
They did it
Monday
for like
Night
lesser
Raws,
things.
yeah, exactly. For all the shows that WWE has produced, and they have these wild, I mean, on Thanksgiving, have a Thanksgiving Street Fighter, you know, that kind of stuff where
Mhm.
people are jumping into cranberry sauce. Why the heck aren't we doing something with this property, you know?
You remember the Mountain Dew match they had? The Mountain Dew match they had a couple years ago with
Yeah.
Bray.
Yeah.
And it was like, have something like that, a dark match, a legit dark match.
Right.
Something like that that appeals to the audience that tunes in. I mean, we talked about the Cena farewell show.
Mhm.
And when I brought up the fact you have a lot of eyes on this show because they grew up with Cena, they knew Cena, they may be lapsed fans. So yes, you're trying to hook them into the next one.
Right.
You did nothing on this show to hook a Stranger Things fan. Not
Nothing
a thing.
at all. It wasn't even acknowledged.
No.
That's the intro.
Basically, no. Very little.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I was actually surprised they didn't have cast members there. I was surprised they didn't have more stuff. I feel like it was a drop, not just WWE. I think Netflix dropped it too
Yeah.
because they
Everyone
had Elle
involved.
Duncan, right? But she has nothing to do with Stranger Things. She's just a
Right.
big personality for them moving forward. And I was like, in the belt, the merch,
It
all
was
that,
cool.
sick.
Yeah.
But it was a lost opportunity. I didn't get it.
Especially considering that the finale just ended, and I don't watch Stranger Things like that, but I watched the finale. It's just that sort of thing where you have that opportunity to grab a hold of something culturally, and you just drop the ball. So I don't know, man. I don't know. That was my main critique of that
Mhm.
show. I know a lot of people were like, just like, man, this was so mid, and I'm like, man, it was so mid. I
But is
hate
it?
using that
Yeah.
description. I hate using that description, but it was literally mid. It was mid.
Yeah, and so sorry, out of lead.
No.
We've been very critical of AEW over the years, right?
Yeah,
When AEW had their whatever they had that match with Jeff Jarrett a couple years ago, Texas Chainsaw Massacre match or whatever,
right.
they tied in, right? Yes, they paid for it. Yes, all that great, whatever. But I was like, you just learn from that and just build something around it. And I just felt like, man, how did you just drop the ball like this? I
Yeah.
didn't get it.
And honestly, I think the biggest missed opportunity of that show was this contract signing. Now, I have a VPN. I'm gonna be fully transparent. Me and the wife were watching WWE from Bolivia, so we got to see that live. I was excited about it. Those people in the States, you're not seeing it, and you only saw it if you were
Yep.
paying attention online or WWE.com or
Yep.
YouTube or anything like that. So that's my main critique. of just that show in general. But Adelaide, I want to know, we're going to end it on a good note before we get into our ratings. I want to know, Adelaide, what are you looking forward to most when it comes to Javon Evans?
It goes back to what Greg said, is the more they can nurture and give them spots to shine. I think even if it's on the mic, even if it's just set them up, we have this whole run right now with Gunther really being elevated by other vets. Let's call it what it is right now, right?
100%.
Let's have that version for Javon where he gets elevated by some interactions with, someone trying to foil him for being the young guy, but really he's not going to be the talker. He's going to be your Van Damme. He's going to be your Jeff Hardy back in the day,
that's
right?
Actually, that's a good comparison.
Yeah, he's going to have his moments and it'll be fine. But what's going to tell the story is going to be that undeniable just charisma that this guy has. Yeah. And it's cross-cultural, which is rare, right? Clearly. But I'm looking forward to him because, look at this past week. Javon signed. Oba is basically here, right? He's let's just call it what it, right? So it does feel like a little bit of a changing of the guard, where you got we go back to this, not to go back to the Strangers things, but the best thing about that whole cross promotion was that thing that Finn Balor posted with him as the demon and the upside down. It's like,
I didn't even see that.
It was like this cool promo pic. I'm fully expecting him to come out as a demon. So, but again, going back to this idea of, we just went through a weekend where Bullet Club's dead. So generationally, 2026 is bound to be this, let's call it what it is. It's going to be a transitional year because, come on, CM Punk can't be champ for that much longer.
That's true. Especially if Braun Breaker is going a little bit too deep in the waters. But shout out to him because I do like him. And he'll be a future world champion. But, gentlemen, let's go ahead and get into these ratings. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, this is our Dusty review of the Javon Evans contract signing that you may have not seen for some odd reason. Thanks a lot, WWE. But
let me ask a question about that real quick.
Yeah.
The one thing that they do, and they've done a good job of, is doing stuff like that on purpose. Not putting it because they have leaned into the viral piece. They have leaned into TikTok. They have leaned, heavy into it. So that's a possibility they did that on purpose because his age, his charisma, the highlights they showed a little bit about it. So there's a possibility they did that really on purpose.
That's a good point, especially once you take into account the fake outrage of, why didn't he get his moment to shine? Right. Why didn't he get? I'm seeing that. I am seeing that. But also, I'll be honest, sometimes we overthink things. And sometimes it's like, man, it's a layup. Like, what? Why are we have to do all of this to get those 2 points? Like, let's get the easy win, especially now that we have hindsight of looking at that entire show as a whole. That contract signing was a huge piece that a lot of us should have been able to experience live. And I do think that even though there may be we're trying to get people behind them more, you're kind of overthinking it, in my opinion. I think keep it simple. Let's make this happen. Let's get a good moment. WWE's kind of, just being honest and just critical of the brand. They're kind of on a streak right now of a lot of questions and a lot of critiques. And I want to see more wins like, man, that was awesome. Man, that was awesome. Let's stack those versus, man, they missed this. Man, this sucked. Or, man, this shouldn't have happened, just flat out. Like, I want to see more win, because you have all the pieces. But
I think they're a victim of their own success. I think 2023, 2024 was so good that 2025 was not going to live up to it. And then you got screwed by The Rock and Travis Scott. And you had some other things happen throughout that. And if you listen to Cena talk about it, they had to pivot. They had to do all this other kind of stuff. So, I mean, they got, and I'm not giving excuses, right?
Yeah.
Even if that had
It's
worked, even
reality.
if Rock and Travis Scott had worked out, I just feel like everything, the whole Cody story and the bloodline and all that was so good,
right.
you couldn't follow that up. And I think now there's a positive, a
Yeah.
huge positive, because it did drop WWE a little bit down, which allowed
Expectations.
AEW to elevate, and that's not a bad thing. It allowed AEW to elevate, but it also allowed TNA and NXT to elevate,
That's
because
fair.
people did go look for those alternatives a little bit. So there's a big piece to that. So
That's a good point. But let's go ahead and get into these ratings, because this is always a shorter episode. Ali, I want to start off with you. Carson Beck just threw an interception. God dang it. Okay, so
good.
okay, Ali, I want to know first and foremost, did it talk you into the building? Potential Javon Evans, and on a scale of 1 to 5 Dussies, how many Dussies are you giving this promo?
Man, it's always hard because like I want to detach myself because I like the guy and we obviously clearly know the background.
Mhm.
But if I'm a casual fan and I saw this online, like just on the timeline or on socials, whatever, I'd give it a 2 because I don't have much investment in him. And this is no knock on him. This is the knock on the placement and how this was put out there, because ultimately, look, as much as we love NXT, once you hit the main roster, most people have no idea who you are. Maybe the hardcore,
It's
maybe
just
people
a
that go out
fact.
of
It's
their
a
way.
proven fact. That's a proven
It
fact.
is what it is, and you're and you have to rebuild. You have to rebuild and show who you are for a new audience, for a general audience. And this promo maybe hits some of the marks, but there's still a lot left to be said. And by that, I think I'd give it 2 out of 5 Dusties, only based on that. That exposure is so key. And again, you said it earlier, I don't know if you get another chance like this to just bring him out to the crowd for the first time.
Yeah, and that's fair. That's very fair. I will give them Bell, because the last time he was in New York was for the My Time Is Now tournament against Gunther, and he did win them over. He did win them over
in the ring, right?
Yes. But I feel that rating. Greg, let us know. Did it talk you into the building, and how many Dusties?
Yeah. So if I disconnect my IWC self and I go into the whole, not total casual fan, but like just say a wrestling fan that's keeping up.
For sure.
If I watch this and I see it, I'm like, who is this dude? And here's a guy that in that quick thing, okay, he's bouncy, but he's a small dude and they're investing in him like this. Why? He reminds me of like what I would think of a Rey Mysterio back in the day.
Okay.
Like if I see that, I'm like, I need to check this dude out, because WWE doesn't put little dudes like this on TV like that.
Yeah.
So that would be my first thought as I say a little bit more than a casual fan, right? But somebody who watches WWE. So for me, if I put myself in that lens, I'm looking at a 3.25 ish in that area, just because it's out of the norm for WWE to put somebody like that. If it was Oba, oh yeah, this big dude, all right, here it is. He's not walking out there and he's not imposing. So I'll be like, whoa, why? I might need to check this one out.
Good point. I will say Javon has gotten bigger compared. Like I remember him from AEW, and he was a lot smaller. So being in the PC, they definitely they gave him a little peck work. You know, they put a little mass on my guy. But I'm right in line with you guys. I'm gonna give it 3 Dusties, mainly because I do think the highlights that they showed prior to him coming out gives you an idea of his athleticism, like why you should care about this person, why you should be excited about him. And even though he had a little bit of words, it was I'm going to continue to go into that well. It was extremely authentic. It was extremely organic. And those things translate very well to a younger demographic. And I think that's where they're trying to set him up to be one of those guys that the kids really love. The younger fans, the newer fans, the younger girls, whatever, are into what he has to offer. And once they start to put him in situations where he's going back and forth. It looks like they're setting up him and Grande Americano. That's going to be a fun match. So I'm intrigued with it. I'm going to give it 3 Dusties. And like I said, man, I'm a big fan of that dude, and I'm definitely cheering for him. I love what they're doing, as in hyping Oba Femi. Like, I wanted to bring that to the review, but I was like, nah, let's talk about this one because it's definitely due for critique.
So can I say one more thing about Javon? I think, and I don't, you said, like we said, we overthink it, right? I feel like they're doing right by him where they did wrong by Bailey. Because
Explain.
to me, Bailey in NXT was genuine. She was a fan. She was happy to see people. She was, the hugger.
Right.
And they were all like, man, she's so over. She's the next Cena. She's the next Cena. She gets to the main roster and they drop the ball.
Yeah.
When I say that, it just didn't translate. They didn't. I think they relied too much that people knew who she was in NXT. They should, I think now in hindsight, should have pulled the trigger earlier, let her come up, let her build that character again and all that. And I feel like they're doing that now with him. He hasn't been in NXT that long. He hasn't been prominent that long.
Right.
But to your point, he's very genuine. He's awkward. You saw him try to dap up Pierce and he missed. He was like, okay, he's not ready yet. And I'm like, that's so cool.
Yeah.
And there's a piece of it that reminds me of Travis Hunter as well. That Travis Hunter is not your stereotypical football player.
He's goofy.
100%.
But a world athlete.
Right. Yeah. Like a freak of an athlete. Yeah. So good. And his Celsius commercial is him fishing.
Yeah.
It's like, that's that dude, right? He's just genuine. He comes across the smile and everything. That's Javon. And I feel like he's that modern day Bailey that's just, man, the fans will get behind him, but they're not going to let him waste away in NXT. Let's go ahead and build that character now. Nice. I think that's do right by that.
Nice. That's a very good point. Listeners, let us know in the comments. What are your thoughts on Javon Evans? Are you a fan? Did you see him in NXT? Did you see him at AEW or the independents? I know a couple of our listeners, they are tapped in the independent scene. And I do remember seeing him in independents. Talented dude, definitely pulling for him. Shout out to him because to be that young, like they call him the young OG, but seriously, to be that young in that position, perfect opportunity for him. But I'm definitely cheering for him. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Talk 'em in the Building, pro wrestling podcast that puts the focus on the promo. We talk about the talkers. We hype the hype man. Of course, we pontificate upon the promo. Check out past episodes, intothebuilding.com. Super simple. Intothebuilding.com. It'll bring you to the back catalog. Plenty of conversations, plenty of ratings or reviews, and Rushmore series. Like, we got plenty of stuff, plenty of good conversations about this beautiful thing we call the promo. I'm Adrian. That's Greg. Out of the lead. We're out. Peace.
You don't know what hard times are, Daddy.